when it comes to ultimatums, or when it comes to people kind of navigating that nuance that you're talking about, I think that even when I think of the word insecurity or insecure, right? Lack of security. And I think that security is something that each person is contributing to the relationship.
Right.
Because I think that it's very easy for either party to feel, whether it's objectified or misunderstood, because we're coming from different perspectives. And it's not just gender differences, right? These are how people are raised and whatnot. And I think that sometimes when I hear some of the rhetoric, it's almost a dismissiveness to the natural growth and evolution of a person. And I think that when it came to our situation, right, we met at 18 in college. And so if you date throughout college, people's next question is, when are y'all getting married? Right. And it's like, whether or not you are in a financial, because in my mind, I'm like, I'm graduating, praise God, right? You got student loans and I'm going straight into medical program, right? And so it's like, I won't making money before, and I'm not making money now, right? It's like, you think about whether it's financing for a ring, whether it's financing for a wedding, right? Because now I'm coming from wealthy backgrounds. And then it's like, from a financial standpoint, I don't see myself as a provider, right? But I want it to be.
Right.
And I think that coming from that context, like, I had an idea of what a husband was going to be. And it's not that I wasn't on my way, I just wasn't there yet. So it's like that intermediate period where you're still understanding yourself, you're still understanding your earning potential, you're still understanding how you fit into this world. And now the question is, where does the other person fit into my evolution? Right. And I think that sometimes it can feel like the process is undervalued, and you either show up ready to be, right? How much money do you make? You know, when people are talking about where you're taking out on dates,
right?
You know, it's like this aspect of like, that's a status question.
Yeah.
That is a status question. And so like that, where you are in that process, if that's the prerequisite, then there's an aspect where like, when I'm sitting in a place of where I feel is a transition, because I kind of dictate in my mind what success is, because I'm searching for, I've arrived there, whatever that feeling is. Right. And so I have my own definition in my mind. And so that definition might differ from yours. And so as I'm in pursuit of that definition, you know, you could be like, okay, what's going on? Right. So that's that ambiguity, that nuance, because there's this aspect where like, okay, he hasn't proposed. Does he have an intent to propose?
Right.
What is that? And so we had those conversations, right? It's like, I'm like, yo, I'm having a hard time with these classes, you know? And it's like this aspect of like how I'm thinking about certain things is like, I told you, it's like, this is the type of husband I want to be, and this, that, and the third. And I think for us, the conversation, I want to say it was 2019 that we kind of really was talking deep about it. But I think that for me, having that conversation, I can speak for myself, was clear for me to understand how you viewed marriage and how your definition of marriage was much easier to accept than mine. Because it allowed both of us to be as we were and not in a pending state of, we don't even know when we'll get there, but like it's somewhere up there in the late 20s that maybe we'll arrive. I don't know. But like your definition of it was like, right. And I think that allowed me to have a certain level of assurance that I was placing on myself of wanting to be a specific type of man. Like, I want you to like, we can go out on a lot of different dates. You know what I'm saying? We can go on trips. We can experience life to the fullest, and not that we can't get there at some point. I just couldn't offer that now. And you're like, I'm cool with that.
Right.
I don't mind that. I'm like, we ain't gonna be able to get no house when we get married. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with that. We can, it's like,
because it was about you. You know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily about what, because you could offer a lot, you know, you offered a lot, and that's why it was about you, your personality, what you meant to me.
Right.
But it wasn't about you having been arrived, and being everything that the world would say makes a great status, you know, at that point, you know what I mean? Because again, we're coming out of college, you know what I mean? And so we're going through this process together, we're growing together. And I think for me too, it was like I was thankful for the conversation that we had, because like we were talking about security. I think more than anything, having the conversation and being able to talk about what's your viewpoint, and you being able to explain that to me, and me being able to understand, like, I see, you know, the pressure that exists that might not even, I'm not putting that on you, right? But it exists already. So imagine if I'm putting that even more on you, you know what I mean? If you're already feeling it, and then I'm like, yeah, you know, doubling down on that, I couldn't even imagine. And so there's an aspect where it's like, I wanted and I needed security, right? But in us being able to have the conversation about it, I got that because I understood where your mind was as it related to me, you know what I mean? And that you did want marriage and you saw that future as well. But there were some things that, you know, kind of we both understood kind of needed to happen before we went fully in there as well. But because we had that conversation, I wasn't left kind of reaching for whatever I could come up with. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because that can happen. It's like, if you don't know, then it leaves the door open for your imagination. And everybody's imagination is different. So someone could think, well, because you aren't marrying me, or because you aren't saying that you want to marry me, that means you this, that, the third. And it's like, so taking away those avenues for the mind to have its way of creative thought.
So if you like that clip and would like to see another one, click right here.
And you can watch the full podcast by clicking right here.